I've been doing the job for over 14 years now, so I knew the work inside out. That particular day, it was quite a cold day, I remember that. We were just doing regular maintenance work. Some boarding had come loose, so we were just going to secure it. Anyway, we were waiting for another ladder to arrive because it was a bit higher than we anticipated. But time was getting on, so we decided just to get on with it.
Yeah, have you got any more tools?
How many more tools do you need? A colleague had gone back to the van to get some extra tools. And rather than wait, I decided to go up the ladder. Because it wasn't footed, it slipped. It's the worst decision I've ever made in my life.
Falls from height are the most common cause of workplace fatalities. Understanding the hazards and risks associated with working at height is therefore potentially life-saving. Work at height is defined as any task that is carried out above or below ground level, no matter what the distance. A fall from just a couple of feet can be fatal. There is a hierarchy of control for working at height that illustrates the best ways to prevent injury. At the top, we have the safest option: avoid leaving floor level. This can mean finding another way to do the job without leaving the ground, or simply not doing the task at all. When this isn't possible, the remainder of the hierarchy shows how the work should be tackled. It starts with prevent falls from height. Preventing falls from height essentially means using work equipment in the safest way possible. We'll now look at how this can be done, starting with ladders. Ladders are best used as a means of getting to a workplace. They should only be used for short periods, no longer than 30 minutes. Ladders are only suitable for light work in one fixed position. If a risk assessment and method statement from management suggests the use of ladders for a job, then you must use them safely. This starts with pre-use checks. If your workplace uses a ladder tag system, then you can check the tag for guidance on this. Do not use a ladder if its tag system is out of date. Pre-use checks for any type of ladder include checking for missing, damaged or worn anti-slip feet. These are essential for good grip. Look out for items stuck in the feet, such as stones, dirt or grease, preventing the feet from making direct contact with the floor. Check the rungs and sides of the ladder for any mud or grease that would impede your grip when using it, and also check for cracked, broken or weakened parts. For step ladders, make sure that the spreaders are in working order and that they lock correctly. If anything is wrong with the ladder, do not use it or try to repair it yourself. Remove it from use and report it to your manager. Once you're confident the ladder is safe to use, you should position it safely. Do not place a ladder where it can be knocked by an opening door or window unless they are secured. If this isn't practical, you should have someone standing guard at doorways or instruct people to not open the window until told otherwise. Also, avoid placing them near ledges. Doing so can greatly increase the height of the work and the danger that comes with it. Don't place ladders in positions where they could be struck by passing vehicles, and don't place them within 6 meters of overhead power lines. Check that each foot is on a clean, level and firm footing, and look out for oil or loose materials, such as plastic and sheeting. Make sure that the ladder is tall enough to reach the task. Never use boxes or bricks to gain extra height. Place the ladder with the rungs facing the work activity, not side on, as this is less stable. Different types of ladder require different treatment. Don't use the top 2 steps of a step ladder unless it has a suitable handrail like this. And don't use the top 3 steps of a swing-back or double-sided stepladder. This is to ensure that a handhold is available in front of you. A leaning ladder must be at an angle of 75 degrees, or 1 unit out for every 4 units up. If you cannot achieve this angle because the ladder is too short or something is in the way, then do not use it. Make sure that the top of the ladder does not rest against a fragile surface such as plastic guttering or glass, which could break, causing the ladder to slip. Also, be sure that the top of the ladder extends at least 1 metre or 3 rungs above the point where you'll be working, so that you have a handhold. If the ladder will be used as a position from which to carry out work, then it's good advice to secure it across its entire length. At the foot, there should be a secure base that will not cause the ladder to slip or sink. The ladder could be tied at the top and partway down, ensuring that both styles are secured and that it's fixed to something stable and strong. If the foot of the ladder cannot be wedged against something, then it can be footed by a colleague, but this is the last resort and should be avoided when possible. If you're going to be working on or near electrical equipment that could become live, you must use ladders that will not conduct electricity, such as those with fiberglass styles. Now that the ladder is in place and secure, you'll need to know how to work from it safely. No matter what type of ladder you're using, the rules of use are the same. When climbing a ladder, first check that your footwear is free from any dirt, grease, or dangling laces that could cause you to slip. Ascend the ladder, maintaining 3 points of contact at all times, and don't rush. If you need to carry anything up with you, make sure it doesn't exceed 10 kilograms in weight. Always use a work belt to carry tools that you might need, and never carry awkward-shaped objects. They can cause you to lose your balance. When you're at your destination, never overreach. Always keep your body within the boundary formed by the ladder's stiles. Keep both feet on the same rung throughout the task. Remember to never throw anything down from a ladder either. When descending a ladder, do so slowly, rung by rung. Never slide down the stiles. Scaffolds. Scaffolds are best used as a means of accessing work across a larger area than a ladder. They can be used for longer periods of time and are suitable for more strenuous work, since they allow your hands to be free. Scaffolds must be erected and maintained by trained specialists on firm, level ground. When using a scaffold, first do your own safety checks. If a tag system is used, check that the green tag is in its holder and that it's been inspected within the last 7 days. Do not go on the scaffold if the inspection date is overdue or the red "No Entry" sign is showing. When about to access a scaffold, also check that the ladders are secured, in good condition, and that toe boards are in place. There should be no missing floorboards, and handrails should be present. Use scaffold ladders in the same way you would any other. Heavy or bulky loads should not be carried up them. When on the scaffold, you mustn't go outside of the guardrails or alter the platform or ladders in any way. Don't obstruct entries and exits, and don't overload the platform. Never store things inside the scaffold tubes either. When you're working, be very careful not to let waste or tools fall from the platform by keeping your work area tidy and the boards clear. Nothing should ever be thrown from a scaffold. Use enclosed rubbish chutes or lower material to the ground instead. Scaffolds should only be used for the task they were constructed for. Never use an existing scaffold for a new and different job unless it has been properly inspected and assessed first. MUPs, or mobile elevated work platforms, are another way of safely accessing and working from height. MUPs come in many different forms, such as cherry pickers, booms, and scissor lifts, each with different access characteristics. Different jobs will require different MUPs, and they should be selected accordingly by a competent person. To operate a MUP, you must be formally trained and licensed to do so. However, a license is not needed to work from a MEWP, which is what we'll look at now. Only work from a MEWP when you're certain that all safety checks have been carried out by the trained person. This includes confirmation that the MEWP and the ground under it can handle the weight and size of the task, and that the weather and lighting conditions are suitable for the work. All people working on site should know about the work you're carrying out, so they're aware of the risk of falling objects. MEWPs will rarely be used in isolation from other work activities. Before working on a MEWP, you must also be aware of the procedures in the event of an emergency. You must know what to do if yourself or a colleague becomes injured or ill whilst at height. This will involve the use of ground controls, which can be activated in several ways depending on the MEWP being used. Be sure you know how to use them safely. Acting quickly and efficiently can be the difference between life and death. When you start work from a MEWP, first be very aware of what's going on around you while the equipment elevates. The operator should have already checked, but keep an eye out for overhead hazards such as power lines, beams or tree branches. As you ascend, keep your arms and legs within the cage and avoid any sudden movements. MEWPs can be finely balanced, and a sudden jolt can cause the equipment to tip. Do not lean over the guardrails as the machine moves. Never distract the MEWP operator when he's controlling the machine. His full attention must be given to the task at hand. Once you're at your destination, you must work safely. Be careful not to lean on the MEWP's controls during your work or to place anything over them. Never hang anything off the guardrails. Keep all tools and materials within the cage and keep them tidy and out of the way of feet. If you need to leave the work at height, make sure that you've secured the work to the safest standard. You mustn't leave unsecured items at height that have the potential to fall to the ground. Descend in the MEWP in the same manner as the elevation, and also keep an eye out below you for anything that the MEWP could be lowering onto. This particular model sounds an alarm tone halfway down the descent, to remind you that clearance checks must be made. The final stages of the hierarchy involve minimizing the consequences of a fall should one occur. This can involve the use of collective and individual fall arrest systems. A collective fall arrest system is a fixed structure like a barrier, guardrail or net that prevent more than one person from falling to ground. Once installed correctly by a competent person, they do not require any action in order to work. Individual fall arrest systems are items of personal protective equipment which only protect the wearer and requires action by the user, such as properly wearing and adjusting it. Examples include fall arrest harnesses, like this one. You should only work at height using this kind of equipment if you've been specially trained to do so and when its use is a last resort. Using equipment like this incorrectly can be as dangerous as not using it at all. Remember that no job is so important that it cannot be done safely. Make sure you understand the method statements and risk assessments before starting work, and be sure that you follow their advice closely. Only work from height when you have permission to do so from the person controlling the work. And when you're at height, be constantly aware of the risks you face and what you must do to keep yourself and others safe. At height, you cannot afford to take shortcuts.
All it takes is one lapse of concentration. One shortcut, it changes everything. When I fell, I landed on my back. I sustained what they call an L1 spinal injury. I wouldn't mind, I was only a couple of feet high. That basically means I can't walk anymore.